Hey, what's going on? Welcome. This is your daily dose of mind stuff, although it's the evening dose today. My name is Ed Reiner, and if you have never been with me before, welcome. I want to welcome you to the daily dose of mind stuff. Today, we're just going to do a little bit of drawing, I think. I think we'll do a little bit of drawing tonight. Yesterday, we were talking about the heck were we talking about yesterday? I'd have to look and see what it was. I don't know. I'm mind blanking. Anyway, today we're going to talk about positive thinking. Why positive thinking doesn't work. Everyone tells you, you just got to think positive and everything will work out, and why it doesn't work. Excuse me. So, in order to do that, we're going to go over to the whiteboard and we will go ahead and do a little bit of drawing. So let me pop over there. Okay. There we go. All right. So why doesn't positive thinking work? It works for some, but it doesn't work for others. So what we're going to do to explain this a little bit is we got to talk about our self-image. I guess before I go to the whiteboard, I can kind of look at this a little bit. So here I have a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. I don't know if you've ever heard of Psycho-Cybernetics. It's a phenomenal book. It was written by a Dr. Maxwell Maltz back in the 60s, I believe. Let's see, when was it? Yeah, copyright 1960. So Dr. Maltz was a cosmetic surgeon, and he found something rather interesting when he would go and do cosmetic surgery on somebody. Maybe he, removed a really bad scar on their face or redid their nose. He noticed that some people had a really big psychological change, but then there were others that appearance-wise, they looked totally different and phenomenal, but there was no psychological change. In fact, some of them were upset because they're like, he did nothing. You did nothing to me. And so he ended up studying and he developed that we have this inner self-image, and he called it a cybernetic mechanism. He came out with the term psycho-cybernetics. And I'm just going to read a couple things out of here, and then we'll go to the whiteboard and I'll explain kind of what's going on with this. So in here, he talks about self-image. And first, he talks about cybernetics. He says cybernetics has to do with technology, goal-striving, goal-oriented behavior of mechanical systems. Cybernetics explains what happens and what is necessary. So, for instance, an autopilot on an airplane can be, it is a cybernetic mechanism. It's an autopilot. When the plane takes off, the pilot puts on autopilot, which is a cybernetic mechanism, and it has a goal. So like it says, it's a goal striving. Once the program is put in of where it's going, let's say it's leaving LA and going to Denver. Once the coordinates of Denver are put in, that has a goal striving mechanism in it that's going to take it to its destination. If it runs off course, it will correct and go back on course. This is the same way a rocket hits its target. It's correct until it hits there. So he says in here that the self-image is the key to human personality and human behavior. Now, if you've watched any of the other episodes we've done, we've talked about behavior being caused by our paradigms, and our paradigms are a multitude of habits, and that almost all of our behavior is habitual. Self-image is a part of the paradigm. So he says, change the self-image and the personality and the behavior will change. He says the self-image sets the boundaries of individual accomplishment. It defines what you can and cannot do. So all of us have an image that we see in the mirror of ourselves, but we also have an inner image that is our self-image, which has something to do with self-esteem, but it's not. It's our inner image. He said self-image psychology throws a new light on these and many other observable facts of life. It throws new light on the power of positive thinking, and more importantly, explains why it works with some individuals and not with others. Positive thinking indeed does work when it is consistent with the individual's self-image. It literally cannot work when it is inconsistent with the self-image. So that's what and why positive thinking either does or does not work. So with some people, if it is in alignment with that self-image, it's going to work. And others, it's not. There was one other thing here that I had seen that I was going to touch on. Let me just see here. Another point he makes that human beings always act and feel and perform in accordance with what he or she imagines to be true about him or herself and the environment. So, to further explain this concept here of self-image, now we'll go over to the whiteboard and whoops, there we go. So, if you see here, let's change that to black. Okay, so we're going to draw here a picture of the stick person. And if you haven't been on any of these episodes, this circle up here is going to represent our mind. This here will represent our body. So we're going to go ahead and divide the mind into two parts. There's the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. We can also refer to this as our thinking mind and our feeling mind. So our conscious mind is where we originate thoughts. This is where we can accept or reject any idea that comes our way. The subconscious mind or the feeling mind does not have the ability to accept or reject. It only has the ability to accept. So it accepts whatever is brought into it. This is where our paradigm is, and this is also where our self-image is held. Okay? And it's the feelings that are in the subconscious mind that cause the vibration in the body. And that vibration alters the way that we act and behave. And those actions produce our results. So the results are what most people want to change. Now, we'll go to this self-image. We'll make this a little bit bigger. So let's say, actually, yeah, we'll leave him on there because he's actually pretty good. No, let's just delete him. Okay, so let's say that we'll go back to the plane example. Let's say that we have an airplane here. Okay, so here's the plane. All right, so this plane here is leaving, let's say, LAX, Los Angeles, and its destination is Denver Airport. Okay, so when that plane leaves the vicinity of LAX and it starts flying towards Denver, the pilot puts on an automatic pilot or a cybernetic mechanism. Now, if that plane is to go off course and it starts to bounce off course and it's going somewhere totally different, the cybernetic mechanism inside the plane picks up the deviation from the set goal, and the engine is changed, the thrust, the wings, everything is changed to bring that plane back on course to where it hits its final destination, its goal striving destination. Okay, we can understand how that works. Another example of a cybernetic mechanism would be your thermostat. Okay. So let's say we have a thermostat here and it's set at 70. Okay. So it's set at 70 degrees. That is the goal striving. That is the goal, right? Is 70. So let's say that something happens. One of the kids leaves the door open or window open, and you live like I am up here in Montana. And pretty soon the temperature starts to drop. Okay. It drops to 65, to 60, 55. It's cold outside. The thermostat, being a cybernetic mechanism, picks up the deviation from what the set goal is, and automatically the furnace is kicked on. Fire starts up, kicks going, it starts blowing heat throughout the house, and eventually it starts to heat up the house, and we go back up to 60, to 65, and once we get to 70, it kicks off. So it has a set goal, and when there's a deviation from that set goal, it automatically corrects until it goes back to its original goal. So now going back to us. Okay. So we also have a cybernetic mechanism within us, and that's called our self image. So anytime we step out to make a change, and let's say, this is where our results are, and we want to step out, and this is something bigger and better, we'll put a star around it, than what we currently are getting. So let's say it's earning more money. Let's say we're going to turn, we hear Bob talking or someone like me saying, you know what, you can turn your annual income into a monthly income, something that is way out of the norm. And that person starts to step out and they start to act. Okay. Now, this is what their current results are. This is their self image right here. This is where they want to go, is up here. So they start to act and start to move in this direction. They're thinking positive. What happens is that cybernetic mechanism picks up the deviation from the set goal, which is up here. The set goal picks up the deviation from it and what the self-image is in harmony with, and eventually it starts to move back down here until they end up getting the same results, and they can never they can't get further ahead. They don't know why. It's because the self-image is not in harmony with what it is that we want. So in order to do that, we have to do a change. We have to change our self-image. And that's something that Maxwell Maltz talks about. That's something that in the Thinking and Results program that we facilitate, that I facilitate, we spend a whole 2 weeks strictly on self-image and how to build a new one. Once that new self-image is built, we have to build it in here. We build a new self-image. And taking that image, and we get emotionally involved in this new image that's in alignment and in harmony with the image up here. And we impress that over and over and over into the subconscious mind. We internalize it. We become emotionally involved in that because the feeling mind, the subconscious, has no ability to reject, and it doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's fantasy. So eventually, as we keep impressing this new self-image in the subconscious, the old self-image dies from lack of nourishment. And then this new self-image starts to change the vibration, starts to change the behavior to where we start acting in harmony, to where it's just a matter of time before we get what it is that we want. So that is just a brief rundown of cybernetics, self-image, and how we can get positive thinking to work in our favor. So I hope you got some value out of that. If you did, please share this, like this, subscribe, come back every day. Trying different times. That's why I'm coming later tonight. And I'll figure out a time that I can stay consistent with. We're on day 50. I've got 50 more days to go for doing 100 days of live in a row. So come and join me, and I will be back tomorrow. We'll be getting into the Born Rich program, and you guys have a wonderful night, and peace. God bless. It's Ed Reiner. Have a good one.